The vast emptiness of space suddenly came alive with a shimmer of light as the Zorn exploration fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of an unremarkable solar system. High Admiral Kraz, a towering figure with iridescent scales and piercing golden eyes, stood on the bridge of the flagship Celestial Seeker, his gaze fixed on the main viewscreen as he issued a commanding growl, "Report." Science Officer Nix, a lithe alien with tendrils that danced with bioluminescence, moved gracefully over the holographic interface. "High Admiral, initial scans show 8 planets orbiting a yellow dwarf star. The third planet from the star appears to be inhabited." Kraz's eyes narrowed with interest. "Inhabited, show me." The viewscreen flickered, zooming in on a blue and green orb shrouded in wispy white clouds. Nix continued her report. "The planet's atmosphere is primarily nitrogen and oxygen. Surface scans indicate vast bodies of water and multiple land masses. And sir, we're detecting artificial satellites and rudimentary space stations in low orbit." A low murmur of excitement rippled through the bridge crew. First contact was always a momentous occasion for the Zorn Empire, though they had long since grown accustomed to encountering species far less advanced than themselves. "Life signs?" Kraz inquired, his lower set of arms clasped behind his back while his upper pair gestured towards the screen. "Billions, sir," Nix replied, her voice tinged with surprise. "The dominant species appears to be bipedal, carbon-based life forms. They've spread across most of the habitable land masses." Kraz nodded, his expression thoughtful. "And their level of technological advancement?" Nix hesitated for a moment, double-checking her readings. "Primitive by our standards, High Admiral. They've achieved basic spaceflight capabilities, but their technology seems to be primarily focused on their planetary environment. No signs of faster-than-light travel or advanced energy weapons." A small smile played across Kraz's lips. "Another fledgling species. How quaint." He turned to his second-in-command, Sub-Admiral Vex. "Prepare a first contact protocol. We'll observe them for a standard cycle before making our presence known." As the Zorn fleet took up positions around the outskirts of the solar system, they remained blissfully unaware that their arrival had not gone unnoticed. Deep within a secret underground facility on Earth, alarms blared as advanced sensor arrays detected the sudden appearance of the alien vessels. Director Elara Voss, head of Earth's Clandestine Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, EDI, strode purposefully into the command center. Her steel-gray eyes scanned the holographic display showing the alien fleet's position. "Status report," she barked, her voice calm but authoritative. Dr. Zane Hawthorne, the lead scientist of EDI, looked up from his console, his face a mixture of excitement and concern. "Director, our long-range sensors picked up a massive energy surge at the edge of the solar system. Moments later, we detected multiple large vessels entering the area. They're unlike anything we've ever seen before." Voss's eyes narrowed as she studied the holographic representation of the alien ships. "Have they made any aggressive moves?" "No, ma'am," replied Colonel Arya Feng, the facility's tactical officer. "They've spread out in a standard observation formation. It looks like they're settling in to watch us." A tense silence fell over the command center as the implications of this moment sank in. Humanity had long prepared for this day, but now that it had arrived, the weight of responsibility felt immense. Director Voss took a deep breath, her mind racing through the countless scenarios they had war-gamed over the years. "All right, people, this is what we've trained for. Initiate Protocol Omega. I want all EDI facilities worldwide on high alert, but maintain normal operations on the surface. As far as these aliens are concerned, we're just another primitive species fumbling our way into space." As her team sprang into action, Voss couldn't help but feel a glimmer of pride. For decades, humanity had secretly prepared for this moment, all while maintaining a carefully crafted illusion of technological inferiority. Hidden beneath the surface of the Earth and concealed on the far side of the Moon were marvels of engineering and scientific breakthroughs that would shock even the most advanced civilizations. Back on the Zorn flagship, High Admiral Kraz watched with mild amusement as the primitive satellites of Earth continued their predictable orbits. "These humans," he mused aloud, "they remind me of the Kethri when we first encountered them. So full of potential, yet so unaware of the vastness of the galaxy." Science Officer Nix approached, her datapad displaying a stream of information about Earth. "High Admiral, I've compiled an initial report on human civilization. They appear to be a fractious species, divided into numerous nation-states. Their history is marked by frequent conflicts, yet they've also shown remarkable resilience and adaptability." Kraz nodded, his forearms gesticulating as he spoke. "A common trait among young species. They'll learn unity once they understand their place in the galactic community." He paused, considering his next move. "Prepare a small scout ship. I want a closer look at their largest population centers. Ensure our cloaking technology is at full capacity. We wouldn't want to cause a panic among the natives." As the Zorn began their covert observations of Earth, they remained oblivious to the watchful eyes tracking their every move. In orbit around Jupiter, disguised as an unremarkable asteroid, a state-of-the-art human monitoring station kept a vigilant watch on the alien fleet. Lieutenant Nova Reeves, the station's commanding officer, spoke in hushed tones to her team. "Remember, people, absolute radio silence. As far as these aliens are concerned, we're nothing more than a chunk of rock." She turned to her sensor specialist. "What's the status of the quantum entanglement communicator?" "Online and secure, ma'am," the specialist replied. "We can transmit to EDI headquarters without any risk of detection." Reeves nodded, her eyes never leaving the holographic display showing the alien scout ship's trajectory. "Good. Keep a close eye on that scout. The moment it enters Earth's atmosphere, I want to know about it." As the hours ticked by, the tension on both sides continued to build. The Zorn, confident in their technological superiority, began to formulate plans for guiding this young species into the galactic fold. Little did they know that beneath the seemingly primitive exterior, humanity was poised to shatter their preconceptions. In the EDI facility, Director Voss stood before a group of world leaders connected via secure quantum channels. Her voice was steady as she addressed them. "Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've long anticipated has arrived. An alien civilization has entered our solar system, and they're watching us." The faces on the screen showed a mix of emotions: fear, excitement, determination. Voss continued, "For now, they seem to view us as a primitive, non-threatening species. This gives us a crucial advantage. I propose we maintain this illusion for as long as possible while we complete the final preparations of our defense systems." As the leaders debated and plans were set in motion, humanity stood on the precipice of a new era. In the vast theater of space, a cosmic drama was unfolding, one that would challenge the Zorn's assumptions and showcase humanity's ingenious spirit. High Admiral Kraz, blissfully unaware of the true nature of the species he was observing, gave the order for the scout ship to begin its approach to Earth. "Remember," he instructed the scout team, "observe only. We must gather as much information as possible before we initiate first contact." As the sleek Zorn vessel slipped into Earth's atmosphere, cloaked from all conventional methods of detection, both sides prepared for a confrontation that would shake the destiny of two civilizations. The Zorn, confident in their superiority and humanity, armed with the power of deception and innovation, were on a collision course that would send shockwaves through the galaxy. The stage was set, the players were in position, and the greatest revelation in human history was about to unfold. As the Zorn scout ship glided silently through Earth's atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to conventional detection methods, the crew marveled at the planet's beauty. Captain Zila, a seasoned explorer with sails that shimmered in hues of deep purple and gold, stood at the helm. Her four eyes took in the panoramic view of the world below. Truly remarkable, Zola murmured, her voice filled with genuine awe. A world teeming with life, yet so unaware of the vastness that surrounds it. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Crix, nodded in agreement. It's hard to believe they've managed to achieve spaceflight with such primitive technology. Look at those fossil fuel-burning vehicles clogging their roadways. As the scout ship descended lower, skimming just above the clouds over a sprawling metropolis, the Zorn watched in fascination. Towering skyscrapers reached towards the sky, while networks of roads pulsed with the movement of millions of inhabitants going about their daily lives. Begin atmospheric sampling, Zyla ordered, and prepare the stealth probes. I want detailed scans of their infrastructure, power systems, and communication networks. Unbeknownst to the alien observers, their every move was being meticulously tracked by Earth's hidden defenses. Deep within the EDI facility, Director Voss and her team watched real-time holographic projections of the scout ship's flight path. They're over New York City now, Colonel Feng reported, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. Our quantum sensors are giving us a clear picture of their ship's capabilities. It's impressive, to say the least. Dr. Hawthorne leaned in, his eyes gleaming with scientific curiosity. The energy readings from their propulsion system are off the charts. They're using some form of gravitational manipulation we've only theorized about. Director Voss's expression remained neutral, but there was a glint of determination in her eyes. And our countermeasures? Fully operational, Feng replied confidently. Our nanofog is dispersed throughout the atmosphere. To their sensors, it'll just look like normal pollution. But if they try to deploy any probes... Voss nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. They'll only see what we want them to see. As the Zorn scout ship continued its survey, launching nearly invisible probes into the city below, Earth's hidden defenses sprang into action. Microscopic machines, indistinguishable from dust particles, swarmed around the alien probes. These nanobots, a marvel of human engineering, began to subtly alter the data being collected. Back on the scout ship, Lieutenant Crix frowned at his console. Captain, I'm receiving some unusual readings from our probes. Zilla moved to his side, her brow furrowing. Explain. Well, sir, according to these scans, the humans are still heavily reliant on outdated fission reactors for power generation. Their computer systems appear to be using silicon-based processors we'd consider ancient, and their weapons, he paused, double-checking his readings. They're still using chemical propellants and explosive warheads. Captain Zilla's 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of surprise among her species. That can't be right. How could they have achieved spaceflight with such primitive technology? As the Zorn grappled with the perplexing data, the true extent of human technological progress remained hidden from view. Beneath the streets of New York, a vast network of advanced infrastructure hummed with power. Quantum computers capable of calculations that would boggle even the Zorn minds worked tirelessly to maintain the illusion of a less advanced civilization. In hidden facilities around the globe, humanity's real technological marvels stood ready. Antimatter reactors provided near-limitless clean energy, while gravity manipulation engines not unlike those used by the Zorn sat dormant in secret hangars. Weapons beyond the aliens' imagination were primed and waiting, their very existence concealed by layers of deception and misdirection. As the scout ship completed its initial survey of North America and began to move towards other continents, the EDI team watched with bated breath. Director Voss turned to Dr. Hawthorne, her voice low. How long do you think we can maintain this charade? Hawthorne stroked his chin thoughtfully. Hard to say. It depends on how thorough their investigation is. But our nanofog is programmed to adapt. The more they probe, the more convincing our illusion becomes. Meanwhile, high above the Earth, High Admiral Kraz received the first reports from the scout ship. His initial amusement at the humans' perceived primitive state was slowly giving way to confusion. This doesn't make sense, he muttered, pacing the bridge of the Celestial Seeker. How could a species capable of reaching their moon still be using such archaic technology? Science Officer Nix offered a tentative explanation. Perhaps they exhausted their resources in their early space endeavors, High Admiral. It's not unheard of for young species to experience technological regression. Kraz nodded slowly, but doubt lingered in his golden eyes. Perhaps, but something about this doesn't feel right. Prepare a more comprehensive scan of the planet. I want to know everything about these humans, their history, their conflicts, their potential. As the Zorn fleet mobilized for a more detailed investigation, humanity's deception entered a critical phase. In EDI facilities around the world, teams of scientists, engineers, and strategists worked tirelessly to maintain the illusion. Dr. Elena Vega, head of EDI's Xenobiology division, addressed a group of world leaders via secure quantum link. We've analyzed the biological samples the aliens have collected. Our nanofog has successfully altered their genetic scans to show a species far less advanced than we truly are. The Chinese premier's holographic image leaned forward, his expression a mixture of concern and curiosity. And you're certain they cannot detect this deception? Vega nodded confidently. Our technology is beyond anything they seem to possess. To them, our nanomachines are indistinguishable from natural atmospheric particles. As the briefing continued, Director Voss entered the room, her face grave. We may have a problem, she announced, silencing the ongoing discussions. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected a massive energy buildup in the Zorn fleet. They're preparing for something big. The room erupted into a flurry of concerned murmurs. The President of the United States raised her hand, calling for silence. Director, what are our options? Voss's reply was measured, but there was an undercurrent of tension in her voice. We have two choices. We can maintain our current strategy and hope our deceptions hold, or we can reveal ourselves and try to open a dialogue from a position of technological parity. The leaders debated fiercely, weighing the risks and potential outcomes of each approach. As the arguments raged, Dr. Hawthorne quietly approached Director Voss, his tablet displaying a series of complex equations. Elara, he whispered, using her first name in the gravity of the moment, I've been analyzing their energy readings. If I'm right, they're not preparing for an attack. They're getting ready to leave. Voss's eyes widened in surprise. Leave? Why would they? Hawthorne allowed himself a small, triumphant smile. Because our deception worked almost too well. They think we're so primitive that we're not worth their time. They're preparing for a long-distance jump, probably to report back to their homeworld. For a moment, relief washed over Voss's features, but it was quickly replaced by a look of determination. This could be our chance, she mused. If we let them leave thinking we're harmless, we buy ourselves more time to prepare. As the world leaders continued their heated debate, Voss stepped forward, her presence commanding immediate attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have an unprecedented opportunity before us. The Zorn are preparing to leave, convinced of our technological inferiority. I propose we let them go, maintaining our deception until the last possible moment. The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. The British Prime Minister was the first to speak. And what happens when they eventually return, Director? Surely they won't leave us alone forever. Voss's reply was filled with conviction. By then, we'll be more than ready. Our hidden technologies are advancing every day. When they return, expecting to find a primitive world ripe for conquest or guidance, they'll instead face a humanity united and prepared. As the leaders deliberated, the Zorn fleet above Earth began its preparations for departure. High Admiral Kraz stood on the bridge of the Celestial Seeker, watching the blue planet rotate slowly on the main view screen. It's a pity, he said to no one in particular. They have such potential, yet they're centuries away from being ready to join the galactic community. Science Officer Nix approached, her datapad clutched in her lower set of hands. Shall I prepare the standard monitoring buoys? High Admiral. We could leave them in the outer system to track the humans' progress. Kras considered for a moment before shaking his head. No, I don't think that will be necessary. At their current rate of advancement, it will be generations before they pose any interest or threat to the Empire. We'll make a note in the galactic archives and check back in a few centuries. As the Zorn ships began to power up their long-range drives, creating spectacular auroras in Earth's upper atmosphere, humanity held its collective breath. In the EDI command center, Director Voss watched the energy readings spike on the holographic displays. Steady, she murmured, as much to herself as to her team. Just a little longer. With a flash of light that momentarily outshone the sun, the Zorn fleet entered hyperspace, leaving behind a world they believed to be primitive and unprepared for the realities of the cosmos. As cheers erupted in EDI facilities around the globe, Director Voss allowed herself a moment of victory. But even as humanity celebrated this first crucial deception, she knew that the real work was just beginning. "All right, people," she called out, her voice cutting through the jubilation. "We've bought ourselves some time, but we can't afford to waste it. I want every piece of data we collected on their ships analyzed. We need to be ready for when they return." As the Earth continued its quiet revolution around the sun, its inhabitants began to prepare in earnest for the day when they would truly reveal themselves to the galaxy. The Zorn had unwittingly awakened a sleeping giant, and when they returned, they would find not the primitive world they expected, but a humanity ready to take its place among the stars. 5 years had passed since the Zorn fleet's departure from Earth. In that time, humanity had made incredible strides, fueled by the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe and the determination to be ready for the aliens' inevitable return. In a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Director Elara Voss stood before a holographic display of the solar system. Pulsing dots represented the network of advanced early warning satellites that now ringed not just Earth, but the entire system. Her salt and pepper hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and the lines around her eyes spoke of years of relentless preparation. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing through the cavernous command center. Colonel Arya Feng, now sporting a few more gray hairs herself, stepped forward. "All systems are green, Director. Our Dyson swarm around Mercury is operating at 98% efficiency, providing more than enough power for our entire defense grid. The Mars colonies are fully self-sufficient, and the Jupiter shipyards are ahead of schedule." Dr. Zane Hawthorne, his beard now fully white, added, "Our latest breakthroughs in quantum entanglement have pushed our FTL communications to near instantaneous speeds across the entire system. We'll know the moment anything larger than a pebble enters our space." Voss nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Excellent. And Project Phoenix?" A new voice answered, belonging to Dr. Kira Nakamura, the lead engineer of humanity's most ambitious undertaking. "The first prototype is ready for its maiden voyage, Director. If you'd like to observe, we're scheduled to begin in 1 hour." Voss's eyes lit up with anticipation. "I wouldn't miss it for the world." As they made their way to the testing facility, alarms suddenly blared throughout the complex. Colonel Feng's wrist-mounted holo display sprang to life, showing a rapidly approaching energy signature at the edge of the solar system. "Director," she said, her voice tense, "long-range sensors have detected a massive hyperspace window opening near Pluto's orbit. Energy signatures match Zorn technology, but it's much larger than before." Voss's expression hardened. "Looks like our old friends have decided to pay us another visit. Initiate Protocol Omega. I want all EDI facilities worldwide at maximum alert, but maintain surface normalcy. Let's see what they're up to before we show our hand." As the human defense forces sprang into action with well-rehearsed precision, the Zorn fleet dropped out of hyperspace in a dazzling display of light and energy. The fleet that arrived dwarfed their previous expedition, with massive battleships and carriers flanking an enormous flagship that seemed to dwarf even gas giants. On the bridge of the new flagship, christened the Imperial Verdict, High Admiral Kras stood tall, his golden eyes gleaming with anticipation. The years had added gravitas to his bearing, and the numerous medals adorning his uniform spoke of his rising status within the Empire. "Report," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of unquestioned authority. Science Officer Nix, now promoted to senior researcher, approached with a datapad. "Scans confirm this is the human homeworld, High Admiral. Initial readings show minimal advancements since our last visit. Their satellite network has expanded, but the technology remains primitive by our standards." Kraz's expression was a mixture of disappointment and resolve. As expected, it seems the Empire's decision to return was premature. But orders are orders. He turned to his tactical officer. "Prepare the pacification fleet. We'll begin with a show of force over their largest population centers. Let's see how these humans react to real power." As the Zorn fleet began to move into position, humanity's hidden defenses tracked their every move. In the EDI command center, Director Voss watched the holographic display with steely determination. "They're not here for friendly first contact this time," she observed grimly. "Colonel Feng, what's the status of our orbital platforms?" Feng's hands flew over her console. "All weapon systems are armed and ready, Director. Stealth fields are holding. The Zorn still have no idea what's waiting for them." Voss nodded, her mind racing through countless scenarios they had war-gamed over the years. "Dr. Nakamura, is Project Phoenix ready for deployment?" Nakamura exchanged a glance with Dr. Hawthorne before answering. "It is, Director, but we haven't had a chance to test it in actual combat conditions. The risks are worth taking," Voss finished for him. "We may not get a better opportunity than this. Prepare for launch." As the Zorn fleet entered Earth's upper atmosphere, their massive ships cast ominous shadows over the cities below. Citizens looked up in awe and fear, many remembering the brief visit from 5 years ago. But this time, the aliens' intentions seemed far from peaceful. High Admiral Kraz's voice boomed across every communication channel on the planet, translated into all major human languages. "People of Earth, I am High Admiral Kraz of the Zorn Empire. Your world now falls under our protection and guidance. Resistance is futile and unnecessary. Embrace your new role in the galactic community, and prosperity will follow." As panic reports flooded in from around the globe, world leaders scrambled to respond. But in the EDI facility, Director Voss remained calm. She opened a secure channel to all EDI operatives worldwide. "This is Director Voss. The moment we've prepared for has arrived. Initiate Operation Unveiling. Let's show our visitors what humanity is really capable of." Across the planet, hidden installations hummed to life. Massive hangar doors disguised as mountain ranges slid open, revealing sleek spacecraft that defied conventional design. From the oceans, enormous vessels rose from the depths, water cascading off their advanced metamaterials that had kept them hidden from even the most advanced alien sensors. In New York, as citizens gazed up at the looming Zorn ships, the Statue of Liberty suddenly shimmered and disappeared, revealing a colossal defense platform bristling with weaponry that made the alien vessels look primitive by comparison. High Admiral Kraz stared in disbelief at his tactical display as thousands of new contacts suddenly appeared, surrounding his fleet. "Impossible," he breathed. "Where did they come from? How did we not detect them?" Before he could issue orders, a new voice crackled over the communication channels. Director Voss's voice, calm and resolute, filled the airways. "High Admiral Kraz, this is Director Elara Voss of Earth's Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. Earth is not in need of your protection or guidance. We are, however, open to peaceful dialogue between equals." As if to emphasize her point, a massive ship suddenly appeared between the Zorn fleet and Earth. It was Project Phoenix, a vessel that combined the best of human innovation with reverse-engineered alien technology. Its sleek, organic lines seemed to defy physics, and the energy readings it emitted surpassed even those of the Imperial verdict. Kraz's tactical officer, his voice shaking, reported, "Admiral, we're detecting energy buildups all around us." Their weapons, they're like nothing we've ever encountered. Our shields wouldn't stand a chance. For the first time in his long career, High Admiral Kraz felt true fear. The primitive species they had dismissed just 5 years ago now held them at their mercy, with technology that shouldn't have been possible. How? He demanded, addressing Director Voss directly. How did you advance so quickly? Voss's reply was tinged with a hint of smugness. We didn't, High Admiral. We've had these capabilities for decades. Your previous visit merely encouraged us to accelerate our plans. As the full impact of humanity's deception sank in, Kraz realized the grave mistake the Empire had made. They had unknowingly awakened a sleeping giant, one that had been preparing for this moment for far longer than anyone could have imagined. Perhaps, Kraz said carefully, we should discuss this situation in a more diplomatic setting. Voss's response was immediate. I couldn't agree more, High Admiral. We'll transmit coordinates for a neutral meeting ground. I suggest you order your fleet to stand down in the meantime. As the Zorn ships began to pull back, surrounded on all sides by Earth's previously hidden fleet, the true scale of humanity's achievement became clear. The planet below was transforming before the aliens' eyes. Cloaking fields dropped, revealing glittering cities that put the Zorn's most advanced worlds to shame. Massive space elevators stretched from the surface towards orbital stations that served as a testament to human engineering prowess. In the EDI command center, cheers erupted as the Zorn fleet retreated to a safe distance. Director Voss allowed herself a small smile before turning to her team. Well done, everyone, but this is just the beginning. Now comes the real challenge, forging a future where humanity stands as equals in a galaxy that had written us off. As Earth celebrated its emergence onto the galactic stage, the Zorn fleet hovered at the edge of the solar system, its commanders struggling to come to terms with the new reality they faced. The stage was set for negotiations that would reshape the balance of power in the cosmos, with humanity poised to play a far larger role than anyone, alien or human, could have anticipated just days before. The tension in Earth's orbit was palpable as the Zorn fleet and humanity's newly revealed armada faced each other in an uneasy standoff. Despite the initial shock of Earth's technological reveal, High Admiral Kraz had regrouped his forces, his pride and duty to the Empire overriding his earlier moment of fear. On the bridge of the Imperial verdict, Kraz paced restlessly. Have they responded to our demands? He asked his communications officer. Negative, High Admiral, came the reply. The humans are insisting on negotiations as equals. They refuse to acknowledge the Empire's authority. Kraz's golden eyes narrowed. Then they leave us no choice. Prepare the fleet for combat operations. We'll show these upstart humans the true might of the Zorn Empire. As the alien ships began to move into attack formation, alarms blared throughout Earth's defense network. In the EDI command center, Director Voss's voice cut through the chaos. Battle stations, everyone. Looks like the Zorn want to do this the hard way. Colonel Feng's hands flew over her holographic interface. Director, the enemy fleet is spreading out, trying to envelop our forces. Their energy readings are spiking. They're charging weapons. Voss's expression hardened. Deploy the Aegis shield. All ships, prepare to engage, but do not fire unless fired upon. Let's give them one last chance to reconsider. As she spoke, a shimmering energy field began to coalesce around the Earth, extending out to encompass the Moon. The Aegis shield, a planet-wide defense system powered by the Dyson swarm around Mercury, was humanity's ultimate protective measure. High Admiral Kraz watched in disbelief as the energy readings from the shield surpassed anything his senses could quantify. Impossible, he muttered. Then, louder, all ships, open fire. Break through that shield. The space around Earth erupted in a dazzling display of destructive energy as the Zorn fleet unleashed its full arsenal. Beams of searing plasma and antimatter torpedoes streaked towards the planet, only to dissipate harmlessly against the Aegis shield. In the EDI command center, Dr. Hawthorne monitored the shield's performance. Incredible, he breathed. The shield is not just blocking their attacks, it's absorbing the energy and redirecting it to strengthen itself. The more they hit us, the stronger we become. Director Voss allowed herself a small smile before turning to her tactical officer. Colonel Feng, the Zorn have made their choice. You have permission to return fire. Let's show them what we can do. With that order, Earth's fleet sprang into action. Ships that had remained dormant now came alive, their designs a perfect blend of elegance and lethality. From the massive dreadnought Humanity's Hope to swarms of AI-controlled fighter craft, no larger than cars, the human armada moved with a synchronicity that spoke of years of preparation and advanced battle networks. The first wave of human attacks caught the Zorn completely off guard. Quantum-entangled missiles phased through their shields as if they weren't there, detonating with pinpoint precision. Graviton beams warped space-time around enemy vessels, crushing some and tearing others apart. On the Imperial verdict, alarms blared as ship after ship reported catastrophic damage. How is this possible? Kraz roared, gripping his command chair as the flagship shuddered under a barrage of attacks. Science Officer Nix, her voice shaking, responded, "High Admiral, they're not just matching our technology, they're surpassing it. These humans, they've been preparing for this moment for far longer than we realized." As the battle raged, the true extent of humanity's preparedness became clear. From hidden bases on Mars, squadrons of advanced fighters emerged, outmaneuvering the larger Zorn ships with ease. The moons of Jupiter revealed themselves to be massive shipyards, launching wave after wave of reinforcements. But it was the appearance of Project Phoenix that truly turned the tide of the battle. The massive ship, piloted by Dr. Kira Nakamura herself, moved through space with an agility that defied its size. Its weapons were beyond anything even the humans had revealed so far, beams of concentrated dark energy that simply erased portions of Zorn ships from existence, and gravity wells that crushed entire battle groups into singularities. "This is Dr. Nakamura on the Phoenix." Her voice came through the EDI command channel. "Director, we're detecting a massive energy buildup in the enemy flagship. They appear to be preparing some sort of last-ditch weapon." Director Voss's eyes narrowed. "Can you intercept?" "Affirmative," Nakamura replied, moving to engage now. The Phoenix accelerated towards the Imperial verdict, effortlessly evading the desperate fire from the remaining Zorn ships. High Admiral Kraz watched its approach with a mixture of awe and terror. "Divert all power to the Nova cannon," he ordered, his voice hoarse. "If we're going down, we'll take their best ship with us." As the Imperial verdict's superweapon charged, creating a blinding sphere of energy at its bow, the Phoenix suddenly vanished from all sensors. For a moment, the space around the Zorn flagship was empty. Then, in a maneuver that seemed to defy the laws of physics, the Phoenix reappeared inside the Imperial verdict's shields, practically touching the alien vessel. Dr. Nakamura's voice was calm as she gave her final warning. "High Admiral Kraz, power down your weapons and surrender. This is your last chance." For a moment, it seemed as though Kraz would give the order to fire, to go down in a blaze of glory for the Empire. But as he looked around at his battered bridge, at the faces of his crew who had trusted him with their lives, he felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily upon him. "Stand down," he said quietly. Then louder, "All ships cease fire and stand down. Open a channel to the human commander." As the sounds of battle faded, Director Voss's voice came through clear on the Imperial verdict speakers. "High Admiral Kraz, are you prepared to surrender?" Kraz closed his eyes briefly, then straightened his posture. "Director Voss, on behalf of the Zorn fleet, I offer our unconditional surrender. We underestimated you, and we have paid the price for our arrogance." A collective sigh of relief echoed through the EDI command center. Director Voss allowed herself a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what they had accomplished before responding. "Your surrender is accepted, High Admiral. prepare to receive boarding parties. We have much to discuss about the future of our species' relationship. As the human ships moved in to secure the Zorn vessels, the full impact of the battle began to sink in for both sides. The humans had not just defended their world, they had decisively defeated one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. The repercussions of this victory would echo across the cosmos for generations to come. In the aftermath of the battle, as debris from destroyed ships was carefully collected and wounded from both sides were tended to, Director Voss found a quiet moment to address her team. "What we've accomplished here today goes beyond just protecting Earth," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "We've announced humanity's presence on the galactic stage in a way that cannot be ignored. But with this victory comes great responsibility. How we handle the aftermath, how we treat our defeated foes, this will define us in the eyes of the galaxy." Dr. Hawthorne nodded solemnly. "We've spent so long preparing for this moment, focusing on the technology and the tactics. Now comes the real challenge: diplomacy, cultural exchange, finding our place in a much larger community." As if on cue, Colonel Feng approached with a holographic display. "Director, we're receiving transmissions from all over the galaxy. It seems news of our victory is spreading fast. We're getting everything from congratulations to declarations of war, and a whole lot of confused requests for clarification in between." Voss couldn't help but chuckle. "Well, I suppose the cat's out of the bag now. Prepare a general response. Let the galaxy know that Earth is open for peaceful dialogue, but that we will not hesitate to defend ourselves if threatened." As the EDI team began the monumental task of managing Earth's sudden emergence onto the galactic political scene, aboard the captured Imperial Verdict, a different kind of exchange was taking place. High Admiral Kraz, now a prisoner of war, sat across from Director Voss in what had been his private quarters. The Zorn looked aged beyond his years, the weight of defeat evident in his slumped shoulders. "I don't understand," he said quietly. "How did you advance so quickly? How did you hide all of this from us?" Voss leaned forward, her eyes meeting Kraz's. "Admiral, what you're failing to grasp is that we didn't advance quickly. We've been at this level of technology for decades. Your first visit merely confirmed what we had long suspected, that we were not alone in the universe." Kraz's eyes widened as the implications sank in. "But why the deception? Why not reveal yourselves from the beginning?" "Because, Admiral," Voss replied, a hint of steel in her voice, "your empire's history of guiding younger species is well known to us. We needed to be sure we could stand as equals, or more than equals if necessary, before revealing our true capabilities." As Kraz processed this information, Voss continued, "Now we find ourselves at a crossroads. Your empire has seen what we're capable of. The question is, where do we go from here?" The Zorn Admiral was quiet for a long moment before responding. "I've served the Empire my entire life, believing in our mission to bring order and progress to the galaxy. But today you've shown me that perhaps there is more than one path to advancement." Voss nodded, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Then perhaps, Admiral, this defeat can be the beginning of something greater. A new era of cooperation and mutual respect, not just between our species, but for all sentient life in the galaxy." As their discussion continued, laying the groundwork for what would become historic negotiations, the stars outside seemed to shine a little brighter. The battle was over, but the true challenge, forging a new future for humanity and its place in the cosmic community, was just beginning. In the months following the historic battle between Earth and the Zorn Empire, the galaxy found itself in a state of unprecedented flux. News of humanity's stunning victory over one of the most powerful forces in known space spread like wildfire, igniting a mixture of fear, admiration, and curiosity across countless worlds. On Earth, the mood was one of cautious celebration tinged with the weight of new responsibilities. The planet had transformed almost overnight from a seemingly insignificant backwater to a major player on the galactic stage. In the Grand Plaza before the United Nations headquarters in New York, now dwarfed by gleaming towers of advanced alloys and quantum glass, Representatives from every nation on Earth gathered for a momentous occasion. Director Elena Vos, dressed in a formal military uniform adorned with newly minted medals, stood at the podium. Her voice, amplified by hidden technology, carried easily across the vast crowd and to billions watching worldwide. "People of Earth," she began, her tone solemn yet tinged with pride. "For decades we worked in secret, preparing for the day when we would take our place among the stars. That day has come, perhaps sooner and more dramatically than any of us anticipated. We stand now at the threshold of a new era, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life in our galaxy." As Vos spoke, holographic displays above the crowd showed scenes from across the solar system. The terraforming of Mars was proceeding at an astonishing pace, with great domes already covering vast swaths of the red planet. The moons of Jupiter bustled with activity, shipyards and research stations expanding rapidly. Even the swirling clouds of Venus parted occasionally to reveal the first floating cities, a testament to human ingenuity and ambition. "Our victory over the Zorn Empire," Vos continued, "was not just a triumph of technology, but a vindication of the human spirit. Our capacity for innovation, our adaptability, and our unwavering determination in the face of overwhelming odds. These are the qualities that will define us as we step onto the galactic stage." The crowd erupted in cheers, a cathartic release after years of tension and secrecy. As the applause died down, Vos's expression grew more serious. "But with this triumph comes great responsibility. We have revealed ourselves to be a force to be reckoned with, and now all eyes are upon us. How we conduct ourselves in these coming years will determine not just our fate, but potentially the fate of countless other species." She gestured to her right, where High Admiral Kraz stood, still coming to terms with his new role as a liaison between Earth and the Zorn Empire. The former enemies now stood side by side, a powerful symbol of the changes sweeping the galaxy. "We extend an open hand to all peaceful species," Vos declared. "Let our emergence be not a source of fear, but an opportunity for collaboration, for the exchange of knowledge and culture. Together, we can build a galaxy that thrives on diversity and mutual respect, rather than conquest and subjugation." As Vos's speech concluded, the plaza erupted once more in applause. But even as humanity celebrated its new place in the cosmos, in distant corners of the galaxy, other forces were stirring. On the Zorn homeworld of Zaron Prime, the Imperial Palace was in turmoil. Emperor Salvaxis, his iridescent scales dulled with stress, sat upon his crystalline throne, surrounded by holographic displays showing the aftermath of the battle with Earth. "How could this happen?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the cavernous chamber. "How could a species we dismissed as primitive 5 years ago defeat our most powerful fleet?" High Counselor Tezin, her tendrils ringing with agitation, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, it appears the humans have been deceiving not just us, but the entire galaxy for decades. Their technological capabilities far exceed our initial estimates." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And what of Admiral Kraz? Has he truly turned traitor, or is he being coerced?" Tezin hesitated before responding. "Our intelligence suggests his cooperation is voluntary, Your Majesty. He speaks of the humans with a mix of admiration and caution. He advises against further military action." Salvaxis let out a low hiss of frustration. "So we have not only been defeated but humiliated. Our most decorated admiral now counsels peace with these upstarts." He rose from his throne, pacing. "What are our options?" A new voice entered the conversation, that of Xerox, the Emperor's chief scientist. "Your Majesty, if I may, perhaps we should view this as an opportunity rather than a setback." All eyes turned to Xerox as he continued. "The humans have demonstrated technological capabilities that, in some areas, surpass our own. If we could forge an alliance, think of what we could learn, how we could advance." The Emperor considered this for a long moment. An alliance with a species that has just bloodied our nose. The other powers in the galaxy would see it as a sign of weakness. Or they might see it as wisdom, "Your Majesty," Taizen interjected. "The humans have made it clear they're open to peaceful cooperation. By extending an olive branch, we could position ourselves as that entry point into galactic politics. We could guide them, learn from them, and in doing so, perhaps reshape the balance of power in our favor." As the Zorn leadership debated their next move, similar discussions were taking place in council chambers and throne rooms across the galaxy. The sudden emergence of humanity as a major power had sent shockwaves through established alliances and age-old rivalries. In the twilight forests of Alendri, homeworld of the reclusive Auri, the elders gathered in their sacred grove, their bioluminescent skin pulsing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation as they discussed the news from Earth. Elder Gilla, her voice like wind through leaves, spoke softly. "For millennia, we have watched the younger races, content in our solitude. But these humans, they have achieved in centuries what took us millennia. Perhaps it is time for the Auri to emerge from our self-imposed exile." On the molten world of Pyrox, the Forge Masters of the Vulcanian Confederacy hammered out plans for new alliances and trade agreements. Their leader, Grand Smith Idness, his voice booming over the sound of cosmic furnaces, declared, "The humans have reshaped the galaxy in a single day. We must adapt or be left behind in the cosmic dust." As these discussions unfolded across the stars, back on Earth, the work of integrating into the galactic community continued at a feverish pace. In the halls of the newly established Terran Diplomatic Corps, ambassadors from 100 nations trained alongside xenolinguists and cultural anthropologists, preparing for humanity's first official diplomatic missions to alien worlds. In research labs and think tanks around the globe, human scientists worked side by side with Zorn defectors and other alien refugees, pooling their knowledge to push the boundaries of science and technology even further. And in orbit above Earth, construction began on Unity Station, a massive space habitat designed to serve as a neutral meeting ground for species from across the galaxy. Its gleaming spires and vast biodomes were a testament to humanity's newfound status and its commitment to fostering interstellar cooperation. As the first year of Earth's galactic emergence drew to a close, Director Voss found herself once again addressing the world, this time from the observation deck of Unity Station. Behind her, the blue marble of Earth slowly rotated, a poignant reminder of how far humanity had come and the home they would always protect. 1 year ago, she began, her voice carried to every corner of the planet and beyond, to human colonies and alien worlds alike. We revealed ourselves to the galaxy. We showed that humanity is more than capable of standing alongside the oldest and most advanced civilizations. But our true strength lies not in our technology or our military might, but in our diversity, our creativity, and our indomitable spirit. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembled dignitaries, human and alien alike. As we look to the future, let us remember that our place in the stars is not guaranteed. It must be earned through wisdom, compassion, and a commitment to the betterment of all sentient life. The path ahead will not be easy, but I have faith that humanity is ready for the challenge. As Voss's words echoed across the cosmos, on countless worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes looked to the skies with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The age of human ascendancy had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. As the dust settled on humanity's dramatic entrance into the galactic community, the ripple effects of Earth's revelation continued to spread across the cosmos. 5 years had passed since the fateful battle with the Zorn Empire, and the solar system had undergone a transformation that would have seemed impossible just a decade ago. On Mars, sprawling cities now dotted the red landscape, protected by shimmering atmosphere domes. The first generation of Martian-born humans was taking its first steps on the rusty soil, their physiology already adapting to the lower gravity. In the asteroid belt, massive mining operations fed the insatiable appetite of humanity's expanding industrial base, while research outposts on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn pushed the boundaries of science and technology. Earth itself had become a shining jewel, its cities gleaming beacons of advanced technology and environmental harmony. The scars of humanity's industrial past had been erased, replaced by verdant forests and pristine oceans. Towering arcologies reached into the sky, their surfaces alive with bioluminescent algae that turned each metropolis into a work of art visible from space. In high orbit, Unity Station had grown into a vast complex, rivaling a small moon in size. It had become the de facto capital of the galaxy, a neutral ground where representatives from hundreds of species came to debate, trade, and forge alliances. Director Ilara Voss, now serving as Earth's primary representative to the newly formed Galactic Council, stood in her private office aboard Unity Station. The years had added more silver to her hair, but her eyes still burned with the same determination that had seen humanity through its greatest challenges. A gentle chime announced the arrival of her next appointment. The door slid open to reveal a familiar face, High Admiral Kraz, now serving as the Zorn Empire's ambassador to Earth. Director Voss, Kraz greeted her, his once imposing frame now slightly stooped with age. Or shall I say, Councillor Voss? I still haven't gotten used to the new title. Voss smiled warmly, gesturing for Kraz to take a seat. Old friend, after all we've been through, I think you can call me Ilara. As they settled into their chairs, a holographic display sprang to life between them, showing a real-time map of known space. Hundreds of points of light represented various species and political entities, with Earth and its allies shining brightly at the center. I never thought I'd see the day, Kraz mused, his eyes scanning the display. Humans, Zorn, Ari, Vulcanians, all working together. And to think, just a few years ago, we were at each other's throats. Voss nodded, her expression thoughtful. We've come a long way, but there's still so much to do. The Osirian Collective is making noise about our expansion into the Sigma's arm, and the Thraxian Horde is testing our borders near Epsilon Eridani. Kraz's face darkened at the mention of the Thraxians. Warmongering brutes. They make the old Zorn Empire look positively peaceful by comparison. Which is why we need to stand united, Voss replied. The alliance between Earth and the Zorn Empire has been the cornerstone of galactic stability these past few years. We can't afford to let old resentments or new threats drive us apart. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent alert. Dr. Zane Hawthorne's face appeared on a nearby screen, his expression grave. Director, Ambassador, I apologize for the interruption, but we've detected something unusual. You both need to see this immediately. Moments later, Voss and Kraz stood in Unity Station's primary observatory. The vast chamber was abuzz with activity as scientists and analysts from a dozen species pored over streams of data. Dr. Hawthorne approached, tablet in hand. We've detected a massive energy surge at the edge of charted space. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before. The main view screen lit up, showing a swirling vortex of energy that seemed to dwarf nearby stars. As they watched, the vortex stabilized, forming what appeared to be a massive wormhole. By the cosmic forge, Kraz breathed, his scales shifting color in agitation. Is that what I think it is? Voss's eyes narrowed as she studied the phenomenon. A stable wormhole. But that should be impossible with our current level of technology. As if in answer to her statement, a massive object began to emerge from the wormhole. It was a ship, if it could be called that, a vast construct that seemed to be composed of equal parts organic material and advanced technology. It dwarfed even the largest Zorn dreadnoughts, making them look like toys in comparison. We're receiving a transmission, one of the communications officers announced, her voice trembling slightly. The view screen shifted, revealing a being unlike any they had encountered before. It appeared to be composed of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and changing. People of the Milky Way, the being spoke, its voice resonating not just through the speakers, but seemingly in the minds of all present. We are the precursors. We have watched your development from afar, and now we have returned to judge your worthiness. A hushed silence fell over the observatory. The precursors, a name whispered in the oldest legends of 100 species, the supposed creators of the cosmic web of wormholes that had allowed interstellar travel to flourish. Voss stepped forward, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. I am Director Elara Voss of Earth, representing the United Galactic Alliance. We welcome you and seek peaceful dialogue. The energy being seemed to consider her words for a moment before responding. Your alliance is young, your power barely tested. We left this galaxy eons ago, entrusting its development to the younger races. Now we return to see what you have made of our legacy. Praz moved to stand beside Voss, presenting a united front. We have made great strides, he declared. Our peoples have overcome ancient hatreds to work together for the betterment of all. Pretty words, the precursor replied, a note of skepticism in its otherworldly voice. But we have seen countless civilizations rise and fall. What makes yours different? What gives you the right to inherit our mantle? Voss and Kraz exchanged a glance, years of shared history and mutual respect flowing between them. In that moment, they knew that the greatest challenge humanity and its allies had ever faced was just beginning. We may be young, Voss began, her voice gaining strength with each word, but we have learned from the mistakes of the past. We have forged alliances where once there was only conflict. We have pushed the boundaries of science and explored the depths of our own consciousness. Kraz continued, we do not claim to be perfect, but we strive every day to be better than we were before. Our diversity is our strength, our adaptability our greatest asset. The precursor seemed to pulse with interest. Bold claims, but claims we have heard before, from races long since turned to dust. We will test you, all of you. The trials ahead will push you to your limits and beyond. Only if you succeed will you be deemed worthy of the legacy we left behind. As the transmission ended and the massive precursor ship began to move deeper into the galaxy, Voss turned to address a stunned crowd in the observatory. My friends, colleagues, allies, we stand at the dawn of a new era. The challenges ahead will test not just our technology or our military might, but the very essence of who we are as sentient beings. But I have faith in humanity, in our allies, in the bonds we have forged. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the diverse gathering of species, each with their own hopes and fears, strengths and weaknesses. Together, we will face these trials. Together, we will prove our worth. And together, we will shape the destiny of not just our galaxy, but perhaps the entire universe. As Voss's words rang out, a sense of purpose and determination swept through the chamber. The greatest adventure in the history of all sentient life was about to begin, with humanity and its allies at the forefront. In the vast tapestry of the cosmos, a new chapter was unfolding, one that would be written by the combined efforts of countless species united in their quest to prove themselves worthy of the cosmic legacy left by the precursors. The future was uncertain, filled with both peril and promise. But as Director Elara Voss looked out at the stars, she felt a sense of hope. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that the indomitable spirit of humanity and the strength of the alliances they had forged would see them through. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity had begun, and the universe itself waited with bated breath to see what this new galactic civilization would become.